Hello and welcome to the Charles River Conservancy Parkland Show. My name is Renata von Tscharner. I'm the founder and president of the Charles River Conservancy, and we are talking about the Charles River, and today we will be hearing songs about rivers by Terry Kitchen. Welcome, Terry.
Thanks for having me.
And before we hear these songs that they are not about the Charles River, but rivers have a lot of things in common, and they could be about the river or some aspects of the Charles River. But I want to just alert you to some events that will be happening on the Charles River in the next few weeks in these beautiful summer days. There are going to be 2 swims in the Charles River, community swims that are open that you can sign up for on July 12th and July 26th. And on June 20th, all the way through the end of September, there will be Sunday Parkland Games near the Weeks Footbridge. And since we're talking about music, I think it was appropriate to also let you know about River Sing, which will be at the Weeks Bridge on September 21st, the autumnal equinox with revels. But now we're going to hear from a songwriter and author who I had the pleasure of meeting at the Pete Seeger tribute concert. So Terry, tell us about how did this Pete Seeger tribute come about? What was the program?
Well, we had a number of great performers, folk-oriented performers in the area sing Soli Canto, and Dean Stevens, and Vance Gilbert, and Chris Thompson, and John Specky, and Ken Perlman, and just a great evening of music. And we all were affected by Pete Seeger, who not only through his music, but he did a lot of great social activism. And one reason why we're talking about him here today is he had a project called the Clearwater Project, and he lived right along the Hudson River in New York State, along the near Beacon, New York. And the Hudson had been very heavily polluted with industrial waste, and he took it as a personal challenge to try to bring the river back to life. So he raised some money, and they bought a boat called the Clearwater, and they would take school kids out all up and down the Hudson River. And many people from that part of the country, got to spend a summer maybe working on the boat, or maybe just their class went out on a cruise, and getting to see the ecosystem up close. And once you see it up close, you have to care about it.
Yeah.
So, through his efforts and the efforts of many other people, the Hudson has really rebounded, and it's a lot cleaner than it was, now than it was 50 years ago.
There are some people swimming in it as well, I hear.
Yeah, I'd swum in it.
Yeah, and it was a wonderful evening at the Nameless Coffee House. And you had to turn away probably as many people as could fit. It was very sad.
It's a nice intimate place to hear folk music, which is wonderful on a normal night. But obviously, for Pete Seeger, a lot of people wanted to pay their own tribute to him, so we had a good crowd. And I'm happy to say, we were able to raise enough money to donate some money to the Charles River Conservancy to help the work that you've been doing.
Yeah, very grateful for that. Yeah. And also part of the concert, there were some sing-alongs of songs by Pete Seeger, and that was really, it was a very moving evening, a beautiful evening. So thank you for arranging that. So that's where we met, and so I would like Terry to sing some songs that are on his on a CD that he did in 1997, and on the CD are 13 songs, as you see, about family, love, lightning, and all kind of things. And you're going to sing If Wishes Were Rivers. And we will not show the lyrics, but I have the lyrics, and we will at the end show the lyrics.
And this song is actually not about the Charles, but I had the opportunity to go canoeing on the Allagash River up in Maine, and it's very pristine, beautiful country. We saw bears and we saw moose, but even up there, you're aware of man and man's footprint, because there'd be trees along the river, but if you went back 50 yards, there would be a clear cut from the logging industry. So it's always a balance, and it's always really important to know the footprint that we leave. So
Yeah.
this is a waltz. If you want to dance along at home, please feel free. The bright crescent moon hangs over the river. Fireflies dance to welcome the dark. I'm rinsing my spoon, still full from my dinner, and I'm scanning the skies for the first evening star. If wishes were cities, oh, I'd just get lost and I'd never get free. But if wishes were rivers, well, me and my darling would glide to the sea. The sound of fast water floats down from the narrows. A whippoorwill whispers, the hour is late. I'm wishing this river would stretch past tomorrow, 'cause back in the city, my troubles await. Oh, if wishes were cities, I'd just get lost and I'd never get free. But if wishes were rivers, well, me and my darling would glide to the sea. The breezes have settled, there's mist on the water. Pine trees and wood smoke are God's own perfume. I'll reach for a pebble and one for my lover, so we'll have this river till wishes come true. If wishes were cities, oh, I'd just get lost and I'd never get free. But if wishes were rivers, me and my darling would glide to the sea. A bright crescent moon hangs over the river.
Oh, wonderful. That's
Thank you.
beautiful. And I
Thank you so
love
much.
the juxtaposition of the river and the city, although this is
Yeah.
kind of far away, but you bring in metaphors of the city. And here we have the river right in the city.
Well, living,
between-
I live here in the Boston area, and it's a great, thriving city, and it's a wonderful place, but it's really important, I think, to my soul and to the souls of many people to be able to get out into the natural world. Because really, when you think about it, life on Earth has been, 3.5 billion years ballpark, and cities are only a couple thousand years. We're geared to be out in, have grass under our feet and sand under our feet, not concrete. So it's really
Yeah.
important to remember that.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, we are fortunate to have a river here
Absolutely.
with a little bit of grass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not much sand, but a little bit of grass
Yeah,
on either
yeah.
side, and
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
bicycle. And I also, maybe you can tell us about your bicycle ride a bit later.
Sure.
So now let's go to the next big thing, which is not only going to be a song, but it's also a book.
Right.
Tell us about this novel that is now a year old.
Right, came out last year. When I first moved to Boston, I moved here in a van with full of Marshall amplifiers and electric guitars and drum sets. And I moved here with my rock and roll band from a little town in Ohio. And when we hit Boston, it was a very lively scene. There were bands like Aerosmith and the Jay Giles Band and the Cars sort of on the top of the pyramid. And then we soon found out that there were maybe 2,000 other bands.
2,000?
Yeah, really, literally. There was a magazine in town called The Phoenix, and they had a band guide that they published every year so that you could, look up your favorite band if you wanted them to play at your dance or whatever. And there were really 2,000 bands listed, and we saw that and we like, oh no, we make 2001,
Yeah, yeah.
So it took us a while to get established and kind of get our feet on the ground here, but it was such a vibrant scene that I thought really somebody should write about it, because there was so much great music both from the bands that we've all heard of and the bands that no one ever heard of, and my band was kind of maybe in the middle there somewhere, but I wanted that to sort of be to last and
And
for
what
people
was
to
the
know
name
it.
of your band?
My band was called Loose Ties.
Loose Ties. And
Yeah.
does it still exist?
Well, we're friends,
It's still loosely tied?
Loosely tied, I guess you
Yeah.
could say. So I can make a few phone calls and have a band, but
Yeah.
now I'm enjoying the folk scene so much, so much. But it's fun to have a rock and roll band when and every once in a while we actually played our first official show in about 25 years last year when the book came out to sort of celebrate that, and it was a benefit for the Rathskeller nightclub, was a rock and roll club in Kenmore Square across the river in Boston, and somebody's doing a documentary about that, and we all played there, so we all came
Wonderful.
together and did a benefit for that, so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So how's there a river song in this? That's what you're going to ask, I
Yes,
think.
exactly.
So in the story, Mark Zodiac, who's the main character, his girlfriend is from California, and her family always used to go camping along the San Onofre Creek, right where it meets the Pacific Ocean, and there's a species of small fish called grunions, and when the full moon comes out in the springtime, the grunion are attracted by the moonlight and come up and actually lay their eggs on shore. So you see hundreds and thousands of these little fish jumping up out of the water onto the beach, and it's really incredible. And so the river's flowing in, and there's the beach, and the waves are coming in, and so this very sort of beautiful spot where the river's flowing into the waves, and you get sort of water coming together from both directions.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful spot. So I wrote a song for that character in the book, and I should mention that the book actually comes with a little CD of some of these songs. And
Because the book is about...
it's about a musician, about a songwriter.
It's about a band, the
Right.
life of a band man. Yes.
Right. So this is a song that Mark writes for his girlfriend about that memory of her camping trip, and it's called Just Like Where the River Meets the Sea. Waves at night roll black on black, they curl and let go. Moonlight strikes the breaking white, the sparks let you know that just like where the river meets the sea, I'm waiting for you. Just follow your course and come to see I'm there as it's through, waiting for you. You're tired, I'll enfold you and rock you to rest. Storms don't tear, it's life that's dead in each swell's crest. Hey, just like where the river meets the sea, I'm waiting for you. Just follow your own sweet destiny, I'm there as it's through, waiting for you. Oh, single streams can't spin their dreams, so they'd endure. But woven as an ocean, they'd reach any shore that they strived for. The sea itself holds secrets in silver and blue. The river brings its shimmer from the river it grew. Hey, just like where the river meets the sea. I'm waiting for you. Just follow your course and come to see. I'm there as it's through. Oh, just like where the river meets the sea. I'm waiting for you. Just follow your own sweet destiny. I'm there as it's through, waiting for you.
Beautiful,
Oh,
beautiful.
Thank you so much.
It's, you know, again, a very different river. You speaking of where the river meets the sea. Once somebody asked, where does that happen, Mr. Charles? And the person said, well, it has to happen someplace. And I actually biked over the place where the Charles meets the sea, and it's a dam.
Right.
That's where the dam is.
Yeah.
And so
just sort of down from the Museum of Science, right?
That's right, down, about a half a mile further down.
Yeah.
Although officially the Charles goes a little bit further east in that, but that's kind of where you experience the river and the Atlantic Ocean. So a very different experience, a very urban and concrete.
And you have to feel
confined.
for the alewife every spring who have to try to get around that dam somehow.
That's right, and they wait for the dam to open, and then they go up to the Watertown Dam and try to get up the river. But there are more and more that make it.
Good.
Yes.
I had the opportunity to travel in British Columbia, and one of the salmon rivers out there, I got to see it in peak season in August, and it would have been very hard to touch water without touching a salmon.
Oh.
There were so many fish, and and it was at the point where I was there. It was a pretty narrow stream, so they're coming up. They have to jump up these pretty serious waterfalls, to get to their spawning ground, and then there's the native Canadians there with their nets, and they've been doing that for thousands of years. So they certainly have the right to their food source. And then there's grizzly bears too. So you got to feel for these poor salmon. They're like, I just jumped up a 12-foot waterfall. Now I've got this guy with a net, and then if I get past him, there's this bear claw. But luckily enough of them make it.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, this is a beautiful, beautiful song.
Oh,
now we are moving into a very different world here. Another beautiful river that you wrote a song about. Tell us about this song.
We're looking at a picture of the Delaware River, where it flows through what's called the Delaware Water Gap, and it's right on the border between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And I was born just a few miles from there, just a few miles downstream in a town called Easton, Pennsylvania. And so my summer camp, which was located north of the water gap, our big canoe trip was to canoe through down the Delaware through the water gap, and it's really beautiful. You can see the mountain range from upstream, and then once you've passed through it. But the amazing thing is that the mountains were there before the river was. So it used to be one solid ridge across there, and over the millennium, the way the water cut into it, it cut right through the river. So water.
It's powerful.
It's powerful. It may take a while, but water is very powerful. So
wonderful.
I was reading a book by John McPhee about the geology of that area called Annals of the Former World, and he takes it all through the millennium, and it's really just it's worth remembering how much longer life has been here and the planet has been here than we have. We are so new that I think it's good for us to remember that whenever we're feeling presumptuous, and want to remake the world in our image, that the Earth doesn't really need us. The Earth was doing fine before we got here, so we should take a little care.
Yeah.
I am watching a river that's flowing between two mountains that used to be one. Oh, little by little, the water carved a path through the middle of the stone. The mountain rose when two continents collided at the speed of 2 inches a year. Now the wind and the rain have weathered the peaks till they've almost disappeared. Well, if these rocks could talk, all the stories they could tell us, mountains falling, oceans rising, the fires down below us, trilobites, tyrannosaurs, and man. If you want to see the blueprints of God's plan, they're written in these rocks. Down below the floodplain of the river, it spreads out like a fan, and the bedrock that lay at the heart of the hill lives on as grains of sand. If these rocks could talk, oh, the stories they could tell us, mountains falling, oceans rising, the fires down below us, well, trilobites, tyrannosaurs, and man. If you want to see the blueprints of God's plan, they're written in these rocks. Now these rocks have seen it all for 4,000 million years, and if we're gone tomorrow, these rocks will still be here. Well, this limestone's full of tiny crustaceans that swam in a warm, shallow sea. And this shell is all that's left of a swamp with ferns the size of trees. Well, you can sharpen this quartz into an arrowhead that will pierce the hide of a buck. And here's a bit of slag from a pig iron foundry that dates back to the Dutch. Well, if these rocks could talk, all the stories they could tell us, mountains falling, oceans rising, the fires down below us, well, trilobites, tyrannosaurs, and man. If you want to see the blueprints of God's plan, they're written in these rocks. Yeah, if we to be more than a footnote in God's plan, we should listen to these rocks.
Lovely.
Oh, thank you.
There's
Thanks.
kind of a
Kind of our science lesson for the day.
A theme that goes through of you know, how long this earth has been here and how little time we've been here, and respect for what we find.
Oh, it's so, you know, I mean, we're so lucky. I mean, of course, we evolved to suit this planet. So, you know, it's no coincidence that the planet, you know, exists for us to, you know, to be here. But it's such a narrow range in terms of temperature and pressure and all the chemical balances. I mean, life is so amazing, but we exist, especially Homo sapiens exist in such a narrow band, you know, of it, that we really have to be careful, and we have to leave room for everything else, because there's so many unintended consequences whenever we lose a species, you know, or harm an ecosystem. You know, there's so many things that we don't even know what we've lost, you know. So we just need to be a little humble, I think.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing those songs. So this is your website, and so people can find information about you, and also you're going to have a reading. Yeah, I'll be reading
tomorrow night at the Jamaica Plain Library.
Yeah.
At 6:30. So if you enjoyed what you're hearing, and I'll have my guitar there, so I'll do a couple songs from the
Good.
soundtrack of the book, but I'll be reading from my novel, Next Big Thing.
Yeah, well, and the big thing is both a novel. The next big thing is both a novel
And a
a
CD
collection
of songs.
of
Yeah.
songs. And tell us also what's coming up at the Nameless Coffee House.
Well, we're taking a break over the summer, and we'll be resuming concerts at the fall. And the Nameless Coffee House, it's right in Harvard Square at the First Unitarian Church, right on the corner of Church Street and Massachusetts Avenue.
Wonderful
and it's a
space.
a great spot for music. So just keep your ears open, and we'll be presenting some more concerts in the fall.
Good. Well, I want to have the viewers a chance to just look at the lyrics, which are so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, I have to rush through here, so we are almost at the end. So I want to thank you for coming, and people can go to your website and find out more about your songs.
Well, thanks for having me, and enjoy the Charles River, everybody.
Thank you very much.